In 1982, a bodybuilder who could barely be understood in English walked onto a set in Spain, got attacked by real wolves, fell asleep in a pit of makeup artists, and became one of the biggest movie stars on Earth. Conan the Barbarian looks like a fantasy movie. Behind the camera, it was closer to a disaster. Here are 15 weird facts about Conan the Barbarian you didn't know. Number 1. Arnold got the role because of a bodybuilding documentary. In the mid-1970s, producer Edward Pressman and his friend Edward Summer were watching an early cut of Pumping Iron, the famous documentary about bodybuilding culture. Pressman kept staring at one specific competitor on screen and wondered out loud if there was a movie built around this human being. Summer took him straight to a comic book store and shoved a stack of Robert E. Howard's Conan stories at him. Pressman looked at the paintings of Conan and looked at Arnold and realized they were the same person. It took him almost 5 years to actually get the movie made. But the entire casting of the film happened because 2 producers wandered into a screening of a bodybuilding documentary and had a lightning bolt idea. Number 2, Oliver Stone wrote the original script, and it was insane. Before Conan became a sword and sorcery epic set in an ancient fantasy world, it was something else entirely.
Crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and hear the lamentation of their women.
The original script was written by Oliver Stone, the same Oliver Stone who later made Platoon and Wall Street. His version was set in a post-apocalyptic future. Conan led an army of humans in a massive final battle against 10,000 mutants. The script was 4 hours long. It was reportedly unfilmable and would have cost more than most studios were willing to spend on a fantasy movie. When John Milius came on board as director, he threw most of it out. But before he did, other huge directors had been circling the project, including Ridley Scott, Sam Peckinpah, John Frankenheimer, and Alan Parker. Any one of them could have made a completely different Conan. Number 3, Arnold trained for 18 months with an 11-pound sword that cost thousands. Arnold Schwarzenegger wasn't handed the role and told to just look big. He trained for over a year and a half before cameras rolled. Weapons training, martial arts, horseback riding lessons from specialists. He worked with an 11-pound broadsword 2 hours a day for 3 months straight. Each real broadsword built for the film cost around $10,000 and had to look weathered and ancient. He was taught how to fall, how to roll, how to jump from 15 feet in the air without breaking his neck. He grew his hair out completely naturally over the same period. Arnold has said the training was as brutal as anything he ever did as a bodybuilder, and it's part of why he still calls this movie a gift to his entire career. Number 4, Arnold fell asleep during the body painting scene, and it stayed in the movie. There's a scene where a wizard paints magical symbols all over Conan's unconscious body to try to save his life.
If I were dead and you still fighting for life, I'd come back from the dark.
It's one of the strangest, most beautiful scenes in the film. Here's the twist. Arnold isn't acting. The shooting schedule had been so brutal that by the time he was placed in the center pit of the orgy chamber, set for makeup and body paint, he was completely exhausted. The gentle brushing of the makeup artist working the symbols onto his skin put him to sleep. He passed out cold in the middle of the shot. Milius kept rolling. The wizard is painting a genuinely unconscious Arnold Schwarzenegger. The stillness you see isn't performance. It's a man who couldn't physically stay awake anymore. Number 5, real wolves nearly killed Arnold in the wolf chase scene. The dogs used in the famous wolf chase weren't just dogs. They were German shepherds crossbred with real wolves, and they were dangerous to the point where they attacked their own trainers. Arnold was terrified of them. He spent hours off camera trying to make friends with them. It didn't work. On the very first take of the chase, the trainer let the animals go too soon. They caught up to Arnold, bit into his loincloth, and yanked him off the rock he was climbing. He fell more than 10 feet onto sharp stones and sliced his back open. Depending on which source you believe, he needed somewhere between 12 and 40 stitches. He was back on set the next day. When you watch that scene, that isn't acting. Arnold is genuinely running for his life. Number 6. Sandal. Bergman almost lost a finger, and Milius didn't care. Sandal Bergman played Valeria, Conan's warrior girlfriend, and she did almost all of her own stunts because they couldn't find a body double who matched her. During one intense fight scene, a fiberglass prop sword sliced her finger so badly, the crew thought she might lose it. According to the story that's been told for decades, when a concerned crew member asked director John Milius if she was okay, Milius shouted back, "Valeria would never let that happen." He kept the cameras rolling. Sandal finished the take with her finger bleeding. It became one of the most repeated set stories from the entire production and a perfect summary of exactly what kind of shoot this was. Number 7. The snakes had nowhere to live, so they lived in a hotel garden. Conan the Barbarian is packed with snakes. Thulsa Doom's whole cult is built around them. The problem was that the production couldn't find a specialized facility in Spain that would house all the snakes they needed for the shoot. Their solution was as insane as it sounds. They let the snakes loose in the garden of the hotel where the cast and crew were staying, and then rounded them up when they were needed on set. The giant snake that appears as Thulsa Doom's pet was so lazy it wouldn't move on camera. Its trainers had to constantly poke it to make it look alive. And this is the environment Arnold was walking through between takes, past a hotel garden full of loose snakes waiting for their close-up. Number 8. Mattel rejected Conan toys and invented He-Man instead. This is one of the strangest side stories in 80s pop culture. The Mattel toy company started designing an official Conan the Barbarian action figure line to release alongside the movie. Then they saw the finished film. The sex, the violence, the head chopping, the human sacrifice, the mass suicide. Mattel executives realized they couldn't put their brand on any of it. Kids' toys couldn't come from a movie this violent. So they took the sword, they took the muscles, they took the loincloth, they changed his hair to blonde, gave him a new name, and put him in his own universe. That toy became He-Man. Masters of the Universe was born out of a canceled Conan the Barbarian toy line. An entire cartoon empire exists because Mattel was too scared to sell action figures of the real thing. Number 9. Conan doesn't speak for 24 minutes. Watch the movie again with a stopwatch. Arnold doesn't say a single word for the first 24 minutes of Conan the Barbarian. When he finally does speak, it's the most famous line in the movie. A Mongol general asks him, "What is best in life?"
But what is best in life?
Conan replies, "To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women."
Crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women.
That silence at the beginning wasn't an artistic choice about the character being a man of few words. It was partly a workaround. The filmmakers were nervous about how well audiences would be able to understand Arnold's thick Austrian accent, so they cut his early dialogue and let his physical presence do the work. 24 minutes of pure silent screen time from a leading man became one of the boldest choices in 80s action cinema, and it happened partly because of a language barrier. Quick pause. If this is hitting, hit subscribe so the next deep dive lands in your feed. Drop your favorite Conan line in the comments. Mine is obvious. Now back to the sword and the snake cult. Number 10. That famous line was ripped straight from Genghis Khan. To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women.
Crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women.
Is one of the most quoted lines in fantasy movie history. Almost nobody who quotes it knows where it comes from. It's a slightly shortened version of a real quote attributed to Genghis Khan, translated in the 1800s. The full quote goes further, but Milius trimmed it down for the screen. What sounds like a made-up barbarian catchphrase is actually a real thing a real conqueror is said to have believed. Arnold delivers a piece of medieval history, and everyone thinks it was invented for the movie. Number 11. The mass suicide scene came from Jonestown. At the end of the film, Thulsa Doom stands on the steps of his temple and simply gestures. His followers begin walking silently to their deaths. It's one of the most disturbing scenes in the movie. The image didn't come from Robert E. Howard's original stories. It came from real life. Just a few years before the film was made, cult leader Jim Jones had ordered the mass suicide of over 900 of his followers in Jonestown, Guyana. Milius was haunted by the news coverage and used it as the direct model for Doom's power over his cult. There's an additional detail that's either a wild coincidence or one of the great uncredited casting jokes in movie history. The cult leader in the movie is played by James Earl Jones. James Earl Jones. Milius has been asked about it, and it's never been fully denied. Number 12. Arnold was supposed to narrate the film. His accent killed it. The producers originally wanted Arnold's voice everywhere. He was supposed to open the film narrating over young Conan's childhood and carry the storytelling voice throughout. They shot a whole opening sequence with Arnold made up as an old gray-bearded king, reading a passage from Robert E. Howard's original writings. It was going to be the very first thing audiences heard. Then they listened back. His accent was so thick that they thought viewers wouldn't understand a word. They handed the narration to actor Mako, who plays the wizard.
I'm a wizard, mind you. This place is kept by powerful gods.
And moved the Old King sequence all the way to the end of the film. Arnold hired a voice coach to try to fix it in time. It didn't work. Almost every line originally written for him ended up being cut or given to somebody else. Number 13. The opening Nietzsche quote was actually stolen from a Watergate criminal. Before the story even begins, the film opens with a quote on screen. "That which does not kill us makes us stronger." It's credited to Friedrich Nietzsche, the German philosopher. It's one of the most famous movie epigraphs ever put on screen. The problem is that Nietzsche never actually wrote that exact sentence. What Nietzsche originally wrote was closer to, "What does not destroy me makes me stronger." The wording used in Conan is actually a paraphrase that became famous during the 1980 book tour of G. Gordon Liddy, the man who helped mastermind the Watergate break-in. Milius was a fan of the phrasing. The most famous life philosophy quote in Conan the Barbarian didn't come from a philosophy book. It came from a Nixon-era criminal on tour promoting his memoir. Number 14. The priestess who jumps to her death set a world record. Watch the scene where Thulsa Doom simply points at one of his followers and she calmly walks off a cliff to her death. That's a stunt. The stunt woman who performed it was named Corey Jansen, and she stepped off a genuine drop of 182 feet. At the time, that fall set the world record for the highest free fall ever performed by a woman on a film set. The record stood for years. A moment most viewers pause on for a couple of seconds is one of the most physically extreme stunts ever performed by a female stunt performer in cinema history. It happened for a shot that lasts less than 10 seconds on screen. Number 15. Arnold nearly couldn't walk by the end of the shoot. Every fact so far ends with Arnold surviving something. This is the one where he almost didn't. Late in production, he was thrown from a horse and seriously injured his knee. Doctors told him he needed to stop. He couldn't walk properly. He was in constant pain. The shooting schedule was locked, and the production couldn't afford to shut down. So Arnold ignored them. He limped through the final weeks of filming on a leg that could barely hold his weight, doing his own sword fights and stunts on an injured knee. Combine that with the 12 to 40 stitches from the wolves, the exhaustion, the 11-pound sword he'd been swinging for over a year, and the fact that he could barely be understood in English by his own crew. This was a man refusing to lose the biggest opportunity of his life. He wasn't cast because he was a great actor. He was cast because producers watched a bodybuilding documentary and imagined this exact character. And when the shoot tried to break him, he refused to break. Conan the Barbarian didn't just launch Arnold Schwarzenegger's career. It proved to Hollywood that he could take whatever they threw at him. Which one got you the hardest? Drop it in the comments. Hit like, subscribe,